yes, the on-the-ground resources of the trails. And there are two major components of that, both of which we've been talking about the last couple of days. One is the protection of the trail resources, both on the public lands and on the private lands through which the trail goes through. And then the second is the process of actually making the trail real on the ground for people to use. As I mentioned this morning, there's only 2 of the 11 national scenic trails that you can actually follow from end to end on the ground as intended, without having to walk on highways and other rights of way like that. Of the historic trails, I don't think that we yet have a complete inventory of all of the high potential sites and segments that are recognized in the comprehensive management plans. So there have been a number of initiatives underway in the last couple of years to do work on these components, these initiatives. One is the Bureau of Land Management several years ago, with some of the ARA funds, undertook a significant amount of inventorying of the resources of about 5 of the National Historic Trails, mostly here in the Southwest, to fill in some of the information gap. That's an ongoing process for all of the trails, and with the historic trails. I'm not trying to, in any way, shape, or form, keep track of what your completion sense is at this point, but I, as I say, trust that more work like that needs to be done for identifying, locating the significant places on the historic trails. The initiatives that are underway, and a couple of them have been alluded to already, that go to the protection of the trail resources are really coming to a head, if you will, or to a culmination. It's been mentioned a couple of times that the Bureau of Land Management is working hard and fast to come out by the end of June with a consistent set of policy manuals to guide the management, the consistent management of all of the National Scenic and Historic Trails on Bureau of Land Management managed lands. That's a huge step forward. That process is being done in cooperation with the Forest Service and the Park Service, and there is a desire, I think an intention, to find a way through the Forest Service and the Park Service to end up with a consistent management approach across all of these agencies eventually out of this process. There's a parallel process going on within the Forest Service, and that is the forest planning rule process. That's the process that governs how forest management plans are developed. And I guess maybe put it this way: I should these initiatives I'm talking about have been part of public processes. Some of them, the BLM policy is not, but where we have had the opportunity to comment on the process, on these initiatives, like the forest planning rule, the partnership on behalf of the National Trails organizations has commented to be sure that the National Scenic and Historic Trails are recognized, fully recognized in the process. And generally speaking, we've had good responses, and in an evolving way. The other thing, and this goes to a lot of the conversation we've had over the last couple of hours, the other thing that's happening within the Bureau of Land Management is a programmatic environmental impact statement for solar energy projects. And we have commented now over We just submitted another round of comments the beginning of this week.